Americans are rethinking what retirement really looks like. A new Fidelity study finds more than 70% expect to retire on their own terms, with many opting for a flexible transition instead of fully stepping away from work. So, what does this new retirement playbook look like, and how can we get started for it now? Joining us now to discuss is Rita Asaf, if I'm saying that right, VP of Retirement Offerings at Fidelity Investments. She's laughing at me, so apparently I messed up. Rita, did I do okay?
Yeah, you
No,
did fine.
okay, all right. So, how are Americans reimagining how retirement is defined?
Our study found that Americans aren't just redefining what it means to retire, but most are embracing a different approach to retiring. So instead of the age-old hard stop in their career and then retiring, more people are designing a flexible next chapter. And so what that looks like is they're phasing down work, they're turning a passion to a small business, or they're just finding part-time work to help for a gradual transition into full retirement. And so, in fact, 70% of Americans say they're considering a non-traditional path like this. And 72% tell us they feel confident that they will be able to retire on their own terms, in part because of this phased approach, but also because they have a plan to reach their retirement goals.
Now, what is causing Americans to adopt this new perspective?
I'd say first is planning. So our research consistently shows having a retirement plan is the number one confidence builder. And it's through that retirement plan that people find that they want to approach and plan for phased work. And so we also find that those that have a plan are more than twice as likely than their peers to feel confident about their retirement prospects. Second, I would say day-to-day expenses. They remain top of mind, and our study found that the rising cost of living remains a major competing priority with saving for retirement, with about one half saying it limits their ability to save. And so that's partially why we're seeing so many choose to ease into their retirement. It lets them keep earning income while still experiencing their goal to retire.
Now, paint the picture. What does a phased approach actually look like?
Well, when you retire, it doesn't mean your day-to-day expenses just go away. So a phased approach allows you to begin drawing less from your savings than you would if you were fully retired. And so it's that gradual transition which is key for some people. And it could be as simple as asking your employer about working fewer hours. Some people try freelancing or contract work. Others simply find a completely different part-time job than they did when they were full-time working. It gives them a way to have that income that they need to gradually transition into full retirement. And that's the goal. You know, you want a smooth path. You keep purpose and some level of income while you line up what you need for when you fully retire. And that means figuring out how healthcare will work, how your income sources will line up, and then when it might make sense for you to fully step away.
Rita, I was giggling a little bit because when you were talking about that, the first thing I thought about is when I go to the grocery store and I see people who are baby boomers and have retired, and their comments on the price of food is very, very interesting. Very interesting. So, what concrete steps can people take to put their retirement plan to motion?
Well, I would say first, make sure you have a retirement plan. It doesn't matter if you're taking a phased approach or you're transitioning directly into full retirement. A good plan should bring into alignment your retirement goals, your saving strategy, and your retirement needs. So, how do you get there? I would say first, aim to save at least 15% of your pre-tax income each year for retirement. And that includes any employer match if you have access to one. If that seems too much, consider automating small contribution increases as your salary goes up. Third, I would say consider how you'll cover off large expenses in retirement. Healthcare, as we know, is often the largest expense in retirement. And so if you're eligible, an HSA can help you set aside money for future medical costs. And then finally, make sure you are invested properly. You want to have a diversified mix of investments. And what that means is the right amount of stocks, bonds, and cash to stay on track for your retirement goal, your risk tolerance, and your time horizon.
Rita, I'm 30 days late, but I wish I had talked to you 30 years ago. So now, where do we go for more help with their retirement plan?
Well, you can learn more at fidelity.com/retirement planning.
The speaker, Rita Asif, VP of Retirement Offerings at Fidelity Investments. She has some very interesting and good information. But again, I still hear the comments when I go to the grocery store and at the coffee shop. You should really sit down at Starbucks or any coffee shop and listen to retirees talk about the cost of living.
I would love it. That could be my part-time job for retirement. So let's see.
Yeah, we'll see. Rita, thank you again for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.